We need to talk about something that's been weighing heavily on my heart. Something that's stealing your peace, draining your energy, and keeping you from living your most authentic life. It's not what you might expect. It's not stress. It's not the fast pace of modern life. It's not even the constant bombardment of information we face every day. No, what's really killing your peace is something society has taught us to value above all else, at being nice. Now, before you start questioning whether you've walked into the wrong room, let me be clear. I'm not suggesting we should all become unkind people. But there's a profound difference between being kind and being nice. Kindness comes from a place of authenticity and strength. Being nice, that comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of confrontation, fear of not being liked, fear of standing out, fear of being judged. You see it every day, don't you? In the way you say yes, when every fiber of your being is screaming no. In the way you smile and nod while someone tramples all over your boundaries. In the way you put everyone else's needs before your own until there's nothing. In the way you swallow your truth because you don't want to rock the boat. What's the cost of all this niceness? Look around you. Look at the exhaustion etched on people's faces. Listen to the sighs of those who've spent years trying to please everyone but themselves. Feel the weight of all the unspoken words, the unexpressed feelings, the dreams deferred in the name of being nice. Being nice is like wearing a mask that gets heavier and heavier with each passing day. It's a constant performance where we trade our authenticity for approval, our peace for popularity, our truth for temporary harmony. And the tragic irony is that while we think we're keeping the peace, we're actually at war with ourselves. Remember when you were a child? Before society taught you to be nice at all costs, children have this beautiful natural ability to be honest without being cruel. They can say no without feeling guilty. They can express their feelings without worrying about social consequences. They can be authentically themselves without apologizing for it. But somewhere along the way, we learned that being liked was more important than being real. We learned that keeping others comfortable was more valuable than keeping our own peace. We learned that being nice was the highest virtue, even if it meant betraying ourselves in the process. Let's talk about what happens in your body when you're being nice instead of authentic. Your shoulders tense. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your stomach ties itself in knots. Your mind races with all the things you wish you could say but won't. Your heart aches with the weight of unexpressed truth. And yet we keep doing it, thinking it's the right thing to do. The truth is, every time you choose being nice over being authentic, you're making a withdrawal from your peace account. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're creating a debt that your soul will have to pay with interest. Every time you smile and nod instead of speaking your truth, you're trading long-term peace for short-term comfort. The people we admire most in history weren't nice. They were kind, yes. They were compassionate, absolutely. But nice? No. They were truth tellers. They were boundary setters. They were willing to be disliked in service of a greater truth. They understood that real peace doesn't come from pleasing others. It comes from being in alignment with your own truth. Think about the great spiritual teachers throughout history. Think about the civil rights leaders. Think about anyone who's ever made a real difference in the world. They weren't concerned with being nice. They were concerned with being true. They understood that real love for yourself and others sometimes means being willing to cause discomfort. It means being willing to rock the boat. It means being willing to let people be upset with you. This isn't about becoming harsh or uncaring. This is about becoming real. This is about understanding that true peace comes from alignment, not approval. It comes from living in harmony with your own truth, not from contorting yourself to fit others' expectations. I invite you to think about how much of your life is currently being lived through the filter of nice. How many of your decisions are based on what others might think? How many of your actions are motivated by the desire to please? How many of your words are censored by the fear of causing waves? The path to peace isn't paved with niceness. It's paved with truth. It's paved with authenticity. It's paved with the courage to be real, even when real isn't nice. It's paved with the wisdom to understand that while being nice might make others comfortable temporarily, it creates a deep discomfort within ourselves that no amount of external approval can soothe. In the coming moments, we're going to explore exactly how this addiction to being nice is showing up in your life, and more importantly, how to break free from it. We're going to learn how to trade nice for authentic, pleasing for peace, and external validation for internal alignment. Because once you understand why being nice is killing your peace, you can begin the journey back to yourself, back to a life of genuine peace, authentic expression, and true connection. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about unbecoming all the things you were never meant to be. It's about peeling away the layers of niceness to reveal the authentic being underneath. It's about reclaiming your right to be real, to be true, to be you, without apology, without explanation, and without the crushing weight of other people's expectations. Are you ready to explore what life could look like beyond the prison of being nice? Are you ready to discover what real peace feels like? Are you ready to trade in your mask of niceness for the freedom of authenticity? The most insidious thing about being overly nice is that it masquerades as virtue. We've been conditioned to believe that putting everyone else's needs before our own makes us good people. But let me share something profound with you. Every time you sacrifice your truth to keep others comfortable, you're not just betraying yourself. You're also denying others the opportunity to know and interact with your authentic self. When you're being nice instead of authentic, you're actually engaging in a subtle form of dishonesty. You're presenting a curated version of yourself to the world, one that's designed to please, to avoid conflict, to maintain the status. But at what cost? The universe has a peculiar way of teaching us lessons. The more we try to avoid conflict through excessive niceness, the more internal conflict we create. The more we try to keep the peace by suppressing our truth, the more we wage war against our own. The more we attempt to control others' perceptions of us through niceness, the more out of control we feel internally. This pattern of being nice at the expense of our truth creates what I call the a-peace paradox. We think we're creating peace by being nice, but we're actually creating chaos in our minds, in our bodies, and in our spirits. Every forced smile, every swallowed truth, every compromised boundary adds another layer of discord to our inner world. You see, peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of truth. Real peace comes from alignment with our authentic selves, not from the temporary approval of others. When we prioritize being nice over being real, we create a gap between who we are and who we present to the world. That gap becomes a breeding ground for anxiety, resentment, and inner turmoil. Is what happens when we consistently choose nice over authentic. Our yes becomes meaningless because it comes from obligation rather than choice. Our relationships become superficial because they're built on a foundation of pleasantry rather than truth. Our dreams become distant because we're too busy fulfilling others' expectations to pursue our own aspirations. The energy it takes to maintain this facade of niceness is enormous. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can do it for a while, but eventually your arms will tire and the ball will burst to the surface, often in ways we didn't. This might manifest as unexpected outbursts, mysterious illnesses, depression, or a general sense of disconnection from life. Think about the times when you've been nice instead of honest. Maybe you agreed to attend an event you had no interest in. Perhaps you took on additional work when you were already overwhelmed. Or maybe you stayed in a relationship that wasn't serving you because you didn't want to hurt the other person. In each of these instances, you traded your long-term peace for short-term comfort. When you begin to release your addiction to being nice, something magical happens. The energy you were using to maintain your mask becomes available for creation, for growth, for genuine connection. The mental space you were using to manage others' perceptions becomes free for innovation, for inspiration, for authentic expression. This journey from nice to authentic isn't about becoming harsh or unkind. It's about becoming real. It's about understanding that true kindness, both to yourself and others, comes from a place of truth, not obligation. It's about recognizing that when you honor your truth, you give others permission to do the same. Think of it this way. Every time you choose truth over nice, you're not just liberating yourself. You're contributing to a more authentic world. Every time you set a clear boundary instead of people-pleasing, you're not just protecting your peace, you're showing others that it's safe to do the same. Every time you speak your truth with compassion Instead of swallowing it with niceness, you're not just honoring yourself. You're creating space for genuine connection. The world doesn't need more nice people. The world needs more real people. People who have the courage to be authentic even when authentic isn't popular. People who understand that true peace comes from alignment with their truth, not from accumulating likes and approval. People who recognize that their unique voice, their genuine presence, their authentic truth is their gift to the world. The journey from nice to authentic requires us to face our fears. The fear of disapproval, the fear of conflict, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of standing alone. But here's what I've discovered. These fears lose their power when we face them with truth. When we choose authenticity over approval, we find a strength we never knew we had. Being authentic means understanding that not everyone will like us, and that's okay. It means recognizing that some people will be uncomfortable with our truth, and that's okay too. It means accepting that we might lose some connections when we stop being nice, but the connections we maintain and create will be genuine, nurturing, and life. This is your invitation to trade nice for authentic, to exchange the temporary comfort of approval for the lasting peace of alignment, to release the exhausting performance of niceness and embrace the freedom of being real. Because when you're no longer trying to be nice, you have the energy to be truly kind to yourself and to others. Remember, every time you choose authenticity over niceness, you're choosing peace over performance. Every time you honor your truth instead of swallowing it, you're building a foundation for genuine peace. Every time you set a boundary instead of people-pleasing, you're creating space for real connection. The path to peace isn't through being nice. It's through being real. It's through having the courage to show up as yourself, to speak your truth with compassion, to set boundaries with love. It's through understanding that your authenticity is not just your right, it's your responsibility to yourself and to the world. Are you ready to release the burden of being nice? Are you prepared to embrace the power of being authentic? Are you willing to trade the illusion of peace through pleasantry for the reality of peace through truth? Let's delve deeper into understanding how this pattern of excessive niceness manifests in our daily lives. The most dangerous aspect of being too nice is that it slowly erodes our sense of self. Like water dripping on a stone, each act of self-denial, each moment of putting others' needs before our own essential requirements gradually wears away our connection to our authentic core. What does this erosion look like in real life? It's in the subtle moments. It's in saying, I don't mind when you actually do mind. It's in staying late at work because you don't want to disappoint your boss, even though your body is screaming for rest. It's in lending money you can't afford to spare because you can't bear to say no. It's in going to social events that drain your energy because you're afraid of being judged for choosing solitude. These might seem like small compromises in the moment. But here's the truth. Every time you choose to be nice instead of authentic, you're sending a message to your subconscious mind. That message says, my truth doesn't matter. My needs are secondary. My peace is negotiable. Let's explore what real peace looks like as opposed to the false peace we create through niceness. Real peace has a particular signature. It feels like coming home to yourself. It feels like taking a deep breath after holding your breath for too long. It feels like putting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying for miles. Most importantly, real peace doesn't depend on external validation or approval. Consider your relationship with conflict. Many of us have been taught that peace means avoiding conflict at all costs. But what if conflict handled with authenticity and compassion is actually a pathway to deeper peace? What if those uncomfortable conversations we've been avoiding are actually doorways to greater freedom? And this isn't just philosophical musing. This is about your life energy. Every time you choose niceness over authenticity, you're spending energy you could be using to create, to grow, to thrive. Think of your life energy like a bank account. Being nice makes constant withdrawals, while being authentic makes deposits. The cost of being too nice extends beyond just energy. It affects our ability to create meaningful change in the world. When we're too focused on being nice, we become ineffective advocates for the causes we believe in. We become unable to stand firmly in our truth when it matters most. We become part of the very problems we wish to solve because we're too nice to rock the boat. But here's what's fascinating about authenticity. It has a ripple effect. When you begin to honor your truth, when you start setting healthy boundaries, when you choose authenticity over niceness, you create a field of permission around you. Others begin to feel safe enough to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Think about the people in your life who have influenced you most deeply. Were they nice or were they authentic? Did they tell you what you wanted to hear or did they tell you what you needed to hear? Did they prioritize your comfort or did they prioritize your growth? The journey from nice to authentic requires us to develop new skills. We need to learn how to say no without guilt. We need to learn how to set boundaries without apology. We need to learn how to speak our truth without aggression. These skills might feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, discomfort is often a... Being authentic doesn't mean being brutally honest. It doesn't mean disregarding others' feelings. Instead, it means finding that sweet spot where truth meets compassion. It means understanding that real kindness sometimes requires us to be firmly honest rather than nicely dishonest. Consider the difference between these two approaches. Being nice is like putting a Band-Aid on a wound that needs stitches. It might look better temporarily, but it doesn't address the underlying issue. Being authentic is like properly cleaning and treating the wound. It might sting initially, but it leads to true healing. The world is hungry for authenticity. In an age of carefully curated social media personas and political correctness, genuine authenticity stands out like a beacon. When you choose to be authentic rather than nice, you're not just changing your own life. You're contributing to a more authentic world. This is about more than just personal peace. This is about cultural transformation. Every time you choose authenticity over niceness, you're helping to create a world where others feel safe to do the same. You're helping to build a culture where real connection is valued over superficial harmony. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Do you want to be remembered as someone who was always nice, who never rocked the boat, who always went along to get along? Or do you want to be remembered as someone who stood in their truth, who had the courage to be real, who helped others find their own authentic voice? The choice between nice and authentic isn't a one-time decision. It's a moment-by-moment practice. Each interaction presents an opportunity to choose. Will you choose the temporary comfort of being nice, or will you choose the lasting peace of being authentic? Remember, the goal isn't to become less kind. The goal is to become more real, to align your outer actions with your inner truth, to create a life where your yes means yes and your no means no, to build relationships based on authenticity rather than... When you stop trying to be nice all the time, something miraculous happens. You find your voice. I'm not the voice you use to please others, but your real voice. The voice that speaks your truth. The voice that knows what you need. The voice that has been waiting patiently for you to listen. The world needs your authentic voice. It needs your unfiltered truth. It needs your courageous heart that's willing to choose real peace over false harmony. Because when you choose authenticity over niceness, you give others permission to do the same. The question isn't whether you'll face resistance when you choose authenticity over niceness. You will. The question is, are you willing to trade the false peace of being nice for the true peace of being authentic? Let's talk about transformation. Real, lasting, soul-level transformation. Because that's what happens when we release our addiction to being nice and step into the power of our authenticity. This transformation isn't just about changing our behavior. It's about changing our entire relationship with ourselves and the world. The first step in this transformation is awareness. Awareness of the moments when we're being nice instead of authentic. Awareness of the subtle ways we betray our truth. Awareness of the physical sensations that arise when we're about to abandon ourselves for the sake of pleasing others. Our bodies are incredibly wise. They know the difference between authentic action and nice performance. When we're about to compromise our truth, our bodies send us signals, a tightness in the throat, a heaviness in the chest, a knot in the stomach. These aren't just random sensations. They're messages from our inner wisdom warning us that we're about to trade our peace for approval. But awareness alone isn't enough. We must also understand the deeper patterns that drive our excessive niceness. For many of us, being nice became a survival strategy early in life. We learned that keeping others happy meant keeping ourselves. We learned that avoiding conflict meant avoiding pain. We learned that being nice was the price of belonging. These patterns served a purpose once. They helped us navigate challenging situations and relationships. They helped us feel safe in environments where authenticity might have been dangerous. But now these patterns are outdated. They're no longer serving us. They're keeping us small, keeping us silent, keeping us separate from our true power. The transformation from nice to authentic requires us to rewrite these old stories, to challenge these outdated beliefs, to question the assumptions that have governed our behavior for so long. What if conflict isn't dangerous? What if it's an opportunity? What if saying no doesn't make us bad people? What if it makes us more honest? What if setting boundaries doesn't push people away? What if it creates space for real connection? This journey requires courage. The courage to sit with discomfort, the courage to disappoint others, the courage to be misunderstood. But here's what I've discovered. The courage to be authentic is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes. Think about the energy you'll reclaim when you stop performing niceness. Think about the mental space you'll free up when you stop managing others' perceptions. Think about the emotional bandwidth you'll recover when you stop carrying the weight of others' expectations. This reclaimed energy becomes available for creation, for innovation, for inspiration. When we're no longer exhausting ourselves with niceness, we have the energy to pursue our dreams, to express our gifts, to make our unique contribution. The transformation from nice to authentic also changes our relationships. Yes, some relationships might not survive our authenticity. Some people might be uncomfortable with our truth. Some connections might dissolve when we stop being nice, but the relationships that remain and the new ones we create will be based on something real. Authentic relationships have a different quality than nice relationships. They're deeper, more meaningful, more alive. When we show up authentically, we create space for others to do the same. Our truth becomes an invitation for others to our courage becomes permission for others to be courageous. This transformation also changes how we handle conflict. Instead of avoiding conflict through niceness, we learn to navigate it with authenticity. We discover that conflict, when approached with truth and compassion, can lead to greater understanding, deeper connection, and more sustainable solutions. The path from nice to authentic isn't always smooth. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments when the old patterns of niceness feel safer than the vulnerability of authenticity. But remember, every time you choose authenticity over niceness, you're building a new neural pathway. You're creating a new pattern. You're strengthening your authenticity muscle. This transformation requires practice. It requires us to start small, to begin with situations where the stakes feel manageable, to gradually build our capacity for authenticity in more challenging circumstances. Each authentic choice, no matter how small, is a step toward greater peace. The world might resist your authenticity at first. It might try to push you back into the nice box. It might try to make you feel guilty for choosing truth over pleasantry. But stand firm. The world needs your authentic voice more than it needs your nice performance. Remember that this transformation isn't just about you. When you choose authenticity over niceness, you become a living example of what's possible. You show others that it's safe to be real. You demonstrate that peace comes from alignment with truth, not from accommodation of others' expectations. This is about creating a new paradigm. A paradigm where authenticity is valued over niceness, where truth is more important than comfort, where real peace takes precedence over false harmony. Every time you choose authenticity over niceness, you're contributing to this new paradigm. The question isn't whether you can make this transformation. The question is, are you ready? Are you ready to release the burden of being nice? Are you ready to reclaim your authentic voice? Are you ready to choose real peace over false harmony? Your authentic self is waiting. Your real voice is ready to be heard. Your genuine power is ready to be expressed. All you need to do is choose truth over nice, one moment at a time, one decision at a time, one interaction at a time. Let me share a profound truth with you. The moment you decide to trade niceness for authenticity is the moment your real life begins. The day you choose to value peace over people-pleasing is the day you start walking the path of personal power. Authentic living isn't about perfection, it's about progression. It's about making the choice, moment by moment, to align with your truth rather than conform to others' expectations. Every time you honor your authentic self, you're building a stronger foundation for lasting peace. Consider what becomes possible when you release the exhausting obligation to be nice. When you're no longer constantly managing others' perceptions, your creative energy becomes available for what truly matters. When you're no longer suppressing your truth, your voice becomes clear and powerful. When you're no longer sacrificing your peace for approval, your presence becomes a force for genuine transformation. This is about reclaiming your power, the power that's been locked away behind walls of niceness, the power that's been dormant under layers of people-pleasing, the power that emerges when you finally give yourself permission to be real. The shift from nice to authentic creates ripples far beyond your personal life. Your authenticity becomes an invitation for others to step into their truth. Your courage to set boundaries inspires others to honor their own limits. Your willingness to speak your truth encourages others to find their voice. Think about the energy you've spent throughout your life trying to be nice. The mental gymnastics of trying to please everyone, the emotional labor of managing others' feelings, the physical toll of saying yes when your whole being wants to say no. Imagine redirecting all that energy toward your genuine purpose. This journey requires us to embrace a new understanding of peace. True peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of truth. It's not about keeping everyone happy. It's about staying true to yourself. It's not about avoiding difficult conversations. It's about engaging in them with authenticity and compassion. Your truth is your compass. Your authenticity is your anchor. Your peace is your priority. These aren't just nice ideas. They're principles that can transform your life from the inside out. The world needs people who have the courage to be real. People who understand that authentic kindness is more valuable than superficial niceness. People who recognize that their truth, spoken with compassion, is a gift to the world. Every time you choose authenticity over niceness, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. A world where truth is valued over pretense, where genuine connection matters more than superficial harmony, where real peace takes precedence over false comfort. This is your time. Your moment to step out of the shadow of niceness into the light of authenticity. Your opportunity to trade the burden of people-pleasing for the freedom of truth-telling. Your chance to exchange the exhaustion of being nice for the vitality of being real. You don't need to earn the right to be authentic. You don't need permission to speak your truth. You don't need approval to set boundaries. These are your birthright. They're not privileges to be earned, but powers to be reclaimed. The transformation begins with a single choice, one authentic moment, one truthful response, one clear boundary. Each choice builds upon the last, creating a foundation for lasting peace. Your authentic self is not something you need to create. It's something you need to uncover. It's already there, beneath the layers of niceness, waiting to be expressed. Your task is not to become someone new, but to let go of who you were never meant to be. The peace you seek doesn't come from outside approval. It doesn't come from maintaining harmony at all costs. It comes from alignment with your truth. It comes from honoring your authentic self. It comes from having the courage to be real. You are not here to make everyone comfortable. You are not here to keep the peace at the cost of your truth. You are here to be fully, authentically, unapologetically yourself. The world doesn't need more nice people. The world needs more real people, people who understand that authentic kindness is more powerful than superficial niceness. People who recognize that their truth, spoken with compassion, is a gift to the world. This is your invitation to choose peace over people-pleasing, to choose authenticity over approval, to choose truth over niceness. The journey won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Because when you choose authenticity over niceness, you don't just change your life, you change the world. Your courage becomes contagious. Your truth becomes transformative. Your authenticity becomes inspirational. The time for being nice is over. The time for being real is now. The world is waiting for your authentic voice, your genuine presence, your unfiltered truth. Are you ready to release the burden of being nice? Are you ready to reclaim your authentic power? Are you ready to choose real peace over false harmony? Because the moment you decide to trade niceness for authenticity is the moment your real life begins. And that moment is now. This is your time. Your truth is waiting. Your peace is calling. The only questions is, will you answer? Stand in your truth. Speak your authentic voice. Set clear boundaries. Choose real peace over false harmony. Because when you do, you become not just peaceful, but powerful. Not just authentic, but alive. Not just real, but revolutionary. Your journey from nice to authentic starts now. Take that first step. Make that first choice. Speak that first truth. Your peace, your real, lasting, authentic peace is waiting on the other side. The world needs your truth more than it needs your niceness. Your authenticity is your gift to the world. And that gift starts with choosing peace over people-pleasing, truth over harmony, authenticity over approval. The time is now. The choice is yours. The peace you seek is waiting. Choose authenticity. Choose truth. Choose real peace. And watch as your world transforms, one authentic choice at a time.